All right. Ladies and gentlemen, how's everyone doing? We are here for this week's Creative Hustle podcast. Quite the week. Very busy. Had a really great amount of projects due, so I was kind of overwhelmed. But yeah, no, we are going to have a great time. We are here live. Oh, well, some of us are live. Some of us are going to be listening to this a little bit later. But folks, speaking of a busy week, I was working, hustling, getting everything together. And believe it or not, I had a few extra seconds to open up Illustrator. Oh no, you're asking yourself, Illustrator. Yes, that is something I am not an expert about. I was messing around with the pen tool. Yeah, that didn't go quite as expected. I'm a bit confused on the topic, but one person I know that is not confused on that topic happens to be our guest today. Not only is he an awesome magical wizard when it comes to Illustrator, but he is a great logo designer and a YouTuber at that. Folks, I'd like to welcome in our guest this week, Will Paterson. Will, Illustrator is not my friend, but he is your friend, and you do some amazing work, and that's why you're on the podcast today. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't checked out Will's stuff, he's on YouTube. Will, what's the YouTube link there? Address.
I'll put it in, but I don't actually know what it is. I tried to create, you know, when you can get a new URL for your YouTube channel?
Yeah.
They offered to give me one, and then I accidentally just kept the same one by accident. So I've not actually got one. So
gotcha. I will definitely be adding this to the show notes for people who are not able to be joining us with us live here. But yeah, no, I looked at that, like I said, last night I was working on my YouTube channel, and it's a lot of work. Like I said, I look up to what you guys do. Anyone who's got a YouTube channel out there that's got a bit of success. But yeah, we will add that to the show notes, folks. If anyone who's in the live chat can check that out. For those of you not familiar with what you do, why don't we clue them a bit about what you do and who you are? Who is Will?
Hello, I'm Will. I make things look nice, and I make
such
videos.
A modest person.
But if you want me to go technical, I'm a logo designer, a typographic logo designer, and YouTuber. I like Instagram, and I like to make things look pretty. I'm a Christian. I go to church, and yeah, I'm 21 years old.
But don't let the age fool you, folks. He's doing some really great work. How about did that all come? Was that something you just as a kid were just always drawing and just always that was always you were that kid?
No, I wasn't that kid at all. I was the opposite. So it's actually a really strange story, and I've told it a few times. But like it goes like this. So when I was younger, I was never good. I never saw myself as a creative person. Because in our primary schools, we would always have these sort of creative lessons and stuff in art. Now, I was always rubbish at like all that sort of thing. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't draw a banana or anything like that. So I went to college. Well, I didn't pass any exams in my school. So I literally flunked a lot of them. And design and art wasn't one of them. I did do product design, but that had nothing to do with what I'm doing now. But I failed that too. But I went ahead and went to college, which is sort of like a vocational thing, not like university, but just college after school. Mm-hmm. And during that, it was I quit because it wasn't doing what I wanted to. I wasn't doing what I wanted, and it wasn't sort of something that I could see myself doing in the future. Because they sold the course to me, saying that if you take this course, you'll learn how to start up a business. And in reality, it was learning how to become a secretary and filing reports. And, you know, I'm really good at filing reports now, but, you know, I didn't get much else out of that. So, and because I'm a Christian, I've been a Christian for like, was it nearly 10 years now? And no one else in my family is or anything. But because I'm a Christian and stuff, I believe I have like a purpose. I think people do have purposes. And I think that our steps are called. So when I was in college, I felt the the strange desire not to be there is in not a bad thing of like, oh, I hate college, but it was sort of like, oh, I feel like there's more to what I'm doing now. So I remember just sitting and just thinking, what am I going to do? And this Photoshop and stuff came into my mind. And then I just started thinking, oh, I don't know anything about Photoshop. Mind you, this is about 5 years ago. No, 6 years. Yeah, 5 years ago. I didn't know anything to do with Photoshop or Illustrator. So what I did was I thought about it for a week. I told my girlfriend then, which is now my wife, and she said it was a bad idea. And I just said, well, I've got to do it. I think that, like my beliefs tell me to do it, and God's telling me to do this. So I went ahead and sat down for a whole year after trying to convince my parents I went and sat down and just learned all these sort of programs and stuff. And I did that just by practicing and just getting my creative juices out. And I think the main thing is sort of like understanding that your creativity is inside of you, sort of like a muscle to work. And then from there, I just started drawing, and that's how I got to where I am now. It's just through experience and through research and everything else.
It's a very interesting story. I heard some of it. I caught it here and there. So basically, it's, hey, school's rubbish, and if you want to be successful, just do it on your own. In your case.
Yes, right. Well, for me, that was the case. Yeah, I just think some people aren't geared for education. Some people learn more effectively by themselves.
Definitely. And, we'll touch on it a bit more later, but you definitely said that you felt you had a path towards this. It's a very interesting take on things. We all end up in the situation we are by traveling different roads. I noticed I caught a bit of your Periscope the other night. And it ties into a question I had down the road. We'll get back to that about the Periscope I saw the other night, the beliefs and that whole story. Not to overlook it, because I know it is important to you. It is something that you speak out about. But we'll go in the order of the questions. Sure. How much of your day is design?
How much of my day?
Yes, is this when you wake up till when you go to bed? Because I know you talked about having to get pulled away for lunch. So I feel that design is all of your day.
Sometimes it is. I think the way that I put this is at the minute, I am like doing the best that I can in time management. So I see design like in 3 different ways. So it depends in which way. Or you could say it's all design, but I start off in paper. Like here, I've got it right in front of me just now, into the scanner and then into Illustrator and then the final process. So I think the amount I do in the day, it really depends. Like today, I've done really not that much because I've gone ahead and done a couple little concepts here for a client, and then I've gone ahead and you can't even see that, but whatever. A couple concepts for a client. I've also did a thumbnail for YouTube today, and I've also been out with my wife. I went and bought a PlayStation today because I wanted to. But today's been an actually strange day because it's not been as filled with design work that I normally fill it with. But on a percentage, on an average day, I'd say 80% of my day is full of design.
Yeah, very interesting. We do have a question here. I can save that for later, Mallory. We're not ignoring your question that you just sent us. But yeah, no. Time management is an important thing I've come across. That is something that being alone and being driven. It's a lot of people tell me, well, you just sit at home and you're in your PJs all day and you can watch Netflix and you can slack off as much as you want because you're the boss. And that is all valid and great points, but we are also responsible for the work. We have our deadlines, and when those aren't there, it's on us. So that kind of ties into a question I have. If you think maybe not so much creativity, but the hustle and the drive to get things done, is that something that is in you, or is that something that can be taught?
It's definitely something that's taught. It's just discipline, isn't it? Like when you become a creative, or however you want to say, a creative entrepreneur or a designer, I think nowadays you can't be a designer without being a creative entrepreneur. It's all interlinked. If you want to be successful, you can't just design things. Only a small percentage of people can get successful from doing one small thing. But I think being this sort of way inclined of working by yourself and making sure you're meeting deadlines, it's definitely self-taught. And I think the best way to teach yourself that is by having people around you that can hold you accountable to that, and making sure that you're actually meeting these deadlines, and also having contracts in place where you're legally binded to have a piece of work back to them. And if you're not, they don't have to pay you. So
Yeah, it's definitely, a work in progress. There are some days where my wife is off work and she wants nothing to do but get out the house and do things. And a part of you, and I know you get this because you're married and we've been married a few years now. A part of it is, hey, honey, I have this to do. Like, I understand we need to go to the store, but I also have a deadline. So I try to personally, I try to make sure that, knowing those days that she's going to be home, that the schedule's a little lighter, that I do have, always in the back of my mind. I always know that when the projects are due, really helps. And, it really is, time management and as many hours as some people want to put in that situation.
Right now, I'm actually, no, I'm not with Naomi here, as in like, this is a separate office. So yeah. For me, working at home was like destructive because I'm a very environmental person, as in like, if I'm at home, I will not work. It's like a separation between work and life, and like, living. So my wife doesn't really come here very often. This is actually my parents' house, but it's quite big. I've got like my own upper floor. So like, it's free electricity as well. So I guess it's free Wi-Fi and electricity. But yeah, so being up here is sort of makes it more official for me to work. It's sort of like going to a place of work. But if I had the room, I probably would have like in my flat, I would have like another place to work, but I just don't have that yet.
Yeah, and you talked about it with the whole making sure that when you were at your parents' house and you had the room where you worked as well as sleeping, that came up to be issues for you. Because I'm in a small place, I don't have a separate area yet. I'm working on that, but it does, you do have that switch where it's like, hey, I'm gravitated towards the computer because that's where I should be working still. So, actually to get me off the computer and on the couch sometimes for a movie night, it feels strange to me. I'm sure I'm not the only one who understands, we should, we got to do this, we have this project, but yet we want to spend time with our loved ones, especially with the holidays coming up. In the design group, the Facebook group on Facebook, they were talking about how you manage the holidays and getting work done and still spending time with your loved ones. And this year, this year was my year to really get active in social media and and do stuff like this. This is a stretch. I've never done any video type things before, or a podcast type situation, but it's interesting. And that leads me up to, how did you feel that YouTube was the right place for you, and how was that like growing your channel? Because you've got a pretty good channel going there, sir.
Oh, thank you. It was I don't know, like all I did, my first idea of creating content on YouTube was literally just doing tutorial videos. And I was like, I might just put some speed out videos out there. And I did it because, other people were putting out tutorial videos. And I was like, hey, I know a few things about Illustrator or Photoshop. And, I went from there. And I think during the tutorial videos, I really had more to say. Now, the problem with doing tutorial videos or like starting a channel with doing that, it's sort of like a quick fix channel. That's sort of how I can name it. And it means that there's no personality on the channel. So without me knowing, I really just went ahead and bought a camera because I had other things to say and I wanted to put my face out there on the channel because I knew that it would be a good investment just to have myself up there and people are liking my content. So I went ahead, bought a camera, started speaking into it, and it sort of gave personality to the channel. It gave people more of an in-depth look into me. And like, if I didn't do that, obviously I wouldn't be like here now because I think the channel may have like 10 times more subscribers, but no one will be very interested in me, you know? So that's the way that it works for me. And so creating the channel, if I can remember what the question was.
It was just how you came about to YouTube and you touched on it. Before I look really deep into you, like I looked at some of the Illustrator tutorials, some of that other stuff, some of your early videos, and they held interest, and I would put them on my tablet here next to me, and I'd try my feeble attempt at using the pen tool or whatever was going on that week, but the video content really jumped to the next level, not only when you started speaking in front of the camera, adding your wife alongside there and watching her make death metal Twitter birds and other assorted objects, and you starting up the Creative Bar series, really, dug even deeper into what we already saw. And I love the Creative Bar series. I know you've got some great things coming up with that. I think I think me and your wife's skill level right now at Illustrator is about the same. But I really enjoyed, having that element of her being on there and, looking at you like you're crazy and you looking at her like she's mental with her illustrating work. So the next level, I guess, was taking that YouTube channel and doing the Creative Bar stuff.
Yeah, I guess. Like, I think a lot of people, that's a good topic, actually, because I've been meaning to speak to a lot of people about it because doing Creative Bar has been it's sort of been like something I wanted to do for a while. I wanted to create a place where I didn't have to do jump cuts all the time, but I also want to create some sort of educational content on the channel, but something just fun as well. So having Naomi on Creative Bar was like sort of showing the other side of my personality, which is obviously Naomi. Me and Naomi have been together for like nearly 9 years now, and I'm 21, so it's sort of like been a while. So we've sort of grown up together and stuff. So having her on Creative Bar and Naomi sort of being the difference on the channel, as in like Creative Bar is so different, not because of the name or what we do, but because Naomi's officially part of the hosts on Creative Bar, has made it like the content a bit different. But creating Creative Bar was sort of like, I would say a lot of people hated it at first, because when you start doing something different on YouTube, what will happen is that you'll get a bunch of people who love the work that you do. They'll follow that and they'll like what you're doing and they get it straight away. For others, they automatically assume that you're going to stop doing everything else and you're going to just focus on this one thing, and that you're going to be taking sponsorships too seriously, and it's all money now. So like with Creative Bar, it is a fun experience, but I would say if I didn't do Creative Bar, then my subscriber rates would be higher right now, because I think not because people unsubscribed, but because people didn't get it at first. But that's the whole idea. YouTube isn't about subscriber rates. It's about creating content that is timeless, that people will be watching in 7 years' time, and still enjoying. So yeah.
Yeah, and you touched on the point. It's different. It's something that it's going to get people going to get used to it. You're going to draw a different group of people. I go back and watch some of those episodes when I need a good chuckle. I mean, I find them. I enjoy them. I think her lack of knowledge on what's going on just adds to the situation. It's it's a good change of things, change of what's going on. And it is not always about the subscribe levels of where you're at. If you've got new subscriptions or not, it's nice to see the support, I'm sure. And that's kind of the same mindset I took with this thing. Like, I don't know. I know I said it in the first episode that I'll be, releasing here soon. I don't know where this is going. I honestly, I was in a blab room. I came in here. I was chatting up with some people. A guy that I hadn't talked to before, sent me a message. He's like, "You have great energy." He's like, "You like to just talk." He's like, "Do you have a podcast or anything?" And I was like, "No." I'm like, "No, I don't have anything like that. I'm not on YouTube or anything." And that, right. And us being creative people, that kind of just sat back there. It was just, I closed out and I was working. I was like, well, why don't I have a podcast? Like, I enjoy chatting with people. And like, and then a part of me was, well, do I have enough content for it to be worth it? And, and I started looking around. I was like, well, I want to interview people that I dig, like you and some of the other people I have, people that daily have an impact on what I'm doing. With videos or with their artwork or with, stuff on Twitter. And then, I also want to share people that were a lot like me. In the beginning of the year, I could have really cared less about social media. I had my clients, I had my work, I was good. I just wanted to do my thing and not muck around with the rest. And then, in the beginning of the year, I was like, look, no one's going to notice me if I don't do these things. That's right. And I feel like that's a lot of people out there. A lot of people are just like, I do really great work. No one knows about me. And, if I can, and I'm going to have a wide range of people. I hope we'll grab every kind of artist, musician, people who will still, and that's another thing I love about you. You will still go and you will sketch in your book. Yeah. So many people, so many people just want to be digital and just want to do everything. And, I'm not the greatest artist, but I will sketch in a book to get the creative juices going. And that's kind of what I want to do with the podcast. I want to get people out there that, might be shy to get interviewed or might not think it's something they want to do so they can get out there and get noticed. You're getting noticed with your videos and your content. Like I said, a huge fan. I love the creative bar stuff. I can't wait to see what you got going on for the new year. The other kind of thing I kind of want to get to now was two frame of minds on this. Being a Christian in the design world, one, do you find yourself turning away projects because of your belief?
No, I've worked for a sex shop before. That was fun.
Nice.
I think
so. Basically, work.
Well, if let's say a ridiculous scenario like I don't know, say a porn website came over to me and said, "Design our logo," and I would say no. I would just be like, no. One, I don't know if anyone else would do that. I just don't agree with the whole idea of that sort of thing anyway. Yeah. But let's give another scenario. Let's say something, that bashes against any sort of religion. So I don't know, whatever company it would be that would some reason bash against some Christians. I would say no again. But if it's sort of like, I think a lot of the time, I think people guess that I wouldn't work with them because I'm a Christian, and they'd be like, oh, well, we don't fit to this sort of standard of being a Christian. But it's nothing like that. I think, if I was to not get too religious about it all, as in what I'm going to say now, but if you take this guy called Jesus, he was a carpenter for 30 years. I don't think he denied to do any work for people. I don't think he didn't create a chair because someone didn't believe in him. He still created work, did work and created it for people. But the main reason I deny work is because I don't want to work with them. If you go onto my form section on my website, you have to give me your age. And if you're under 18, I don't work with you. And if you're asking me to create a banner for a YouTube channel. I wouldn't do that. And same with other brands and stuff. If they are so specific in what they want, I will say no, because I don't feel comfortable designing something that they're wanting in that sort of sense. I want to be able to have the freedom to design what I want. So yeah, I don't think like faith has much to do with what work I take or not, but I think my faith anyway, has a lot of what I bring out.
Gotcha. And I was also going to ask you too. Was there one time where it was an early on where you might have took something not necessarily religious wise, but were you just like, hey, I just need to get something done here? I know early in my years, I did a lot of work for free, and I did a lot of work that down the line, I knew I was going to build a relationship with the company. Like, that's the thing I don't get. People always talk about, like, don't do spec work and don't do, like, free stuff. And, I feel like, the biggest company could come, like a Nike could come to you, or a PlayStation could be, hey, Will, design me something.
Yes, we
yeah, but we can't pay you. But is that okay? And, given that opportunity, I'm sure, mostly everyone would take the plunge and be like, I'll do free work. It's, it's a named company like that. And, there are those people who are like, well, I saw it on Twitter and I've seen it all over the place. They're like, designers are being screwed, and, you need to ask for money and that's, that type of thing. And I don't agree. I don't know if it was just me. I just like, if you're going to get to work with a company like PlayStation or Nike and, you're not going to get paid, I think it's worth it. So I think it's, really a pick and choose your free work. I do free work still. And, I saw a company I met through Blab, and the guy has got a startup app, and he's like, we don't have a company logo. And I helped him out. And, a part of me was like, I've never done a logo for an app before. That's kind of cool. Yeah. Like, I didn't think of it like, this guy needs to pay me. Like, I don't know how you feel about that. If free work is still something you would do?
If Nike or PlayStation came to me and asked for free work, I wouldn't believe that they were Nike or PlayStation. And if, to be honest, like, I wouldn't work for them for free. And it sounds ridiculous, but I think that will do more damage to the community of people. Because I can see where people get from. They'll see that, I've done work for companies, I can't name them, but big, huge companies, and I've been paid and I've not been promoted at all by them. And these are companies that people would know, that I'm not allowed to speak of, but that it's a strange thing, because I think a lot of people expect if Nike came to you and said, design this T-shirt or whatever for us. The Nike logo will probably be plastered on the T-shirt, because that's what their company is. It's basically a logo. Yeah. But this is a specific company. But like, if I was to do free work for PlayStation, whatever, like an album or an art cover or whatever, then unless I enjoy it, like if it's something that I'll do out of my work hours, which is what I do stuff out of my work hours, then unless I enjoy it, I won't do it for free, because I'll be like, you're a massive multi-billion-pound company. Why are you not paying me? And that's the question that I ask. But like, say for instance, my church, not that I do free work for the church all the time. They have their own designers, but lately they're doing this women's conference thing where it's called The Light, and they want like a verse or whatever. It'll be going out on Instagram like later this week when I'm allowed to post it. They wanted me to design one of my really vintage style verses and stuff. So I did go ahead and do that for free, because it was something that, I'd proper enjoy making that. But if it's anything like, this huge sort of sacrifice, then I would expect something back, unless I enjoy it. Like, for instance, I won't say who, but I've recently done an album artwork cover for a band, and when they asked me, they expected it for free. They expected me to work for free, and then I said I won't, and then I explained why, and they were like, "Oh, that makes sense." And it's amazing that it's not the fact that clients get annoyed at the fact that you're saying, no, I won't work for free. It's that they're uneducated and they don't get it that much. And, you know, I'm not all about the money, but I am all about the money when it's my work that needs to be paid, and I need to pay the bills and stuff. Just like the saying, what's the saying? I think it's to do with filmmaking, but it is something like design for love and work for design. So make money for the design so you can design. So I see a lot of my work as in I'll do work that I don't enjoy and be paid for it, so I could do work that I do enjoy and that other people enjoy.
Yeah. And, you know, it's kind of weird because I really feel the topic of and the tag of graphic designer, so it's so out there. If you search graphic designer, you're gonna find a million graphic designers, and it's, you know, I've tried to preach, no pun intended, to people about how they need to find their medium, and they can't be a graphic designer because that's such a general term. You could find you could search and see, and there's about 1 million of us out there. But if you know, find one thing that you enjoy and that you're really good at, I think success will come to you. People will start looking you out for the work you do.
That's right.
I know, and I know you're a big fan of Instagram.
Massive.
My Instagram needs to get some work on, but I can tell from people following your account on Instagram, and like I said, I can also add that into the show notes for anyone who wants to follow. You seem like you just enjoy Instagram.
I love Instagram. I prefer it more than YouTube. Like I think it's the best thing ever. Like Instagram for me is sort of it's just my portfolio, but very relaxed. I get to put out work that, like, I think I've just hit 6,000 followers, which for me is like a proper milestone. And putting out work to potentially a few hundred people out of those 6,000 blows my mind. The fact that, you know, I can draw something and someone at the other side of the world can see the work that I've just done on my desk or whatever. It just blows my mind. And, you know, the instant part of it is incredible as well. It's an instant source of inspiration. So, like, I can be like, poo, I don't know what I'm doing right now with this piece of client work. Let me go ahead and look on Instagram and I can find out exactly where I can take this project. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's definitely like I use Instagram. I look at Pinterest for ideas. You know, I feel like I can unplug when things are getting to a point where I'm just burnt out. I can take a step back and open up stuff like Instagram and Pinterest, and, you know, take a step outside, go for a walk, and come back. And that was another step that this year I kind of realized this year that you know, you get burnt out just sitting here sometimes, and you need to take that step back. Only problem I have is the wife does not like me to look at menus now at the restaurants. I'm looking at fonts now to no end and asking myself, why are these people using these fonts on these menus, and questioning things. So the awareness is definitely more active as I get more into design work. But yeah, no, definitely, like I said, I can tell you enjoy the Instagram account. And your work, because it's hand lettering, it really plays into what Instagram's about.
It really does.
Yeah, it's not forced. You know, you can just throw a logo on top of a photo and you're good to go, sir. Congratulations on the Instagram milestone.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's definitely, like I said, it's definitely something I have to work with. I also have a small thing in the way. It's why I've never started a YouTube channel. I do mostly live event advertising, and some of those projects that I get done are very time sensitive. So one, people don't want me recording what's going on, and then two, it's always the release date. I have like this week, I have a couple of projects to release that I had done like 2 weeks ago, but I was getting clearance for the okay. But yeah, no, definitely an interesting time here with, talking about reaching people. The internet is a great tool. Websites like Blab, Twitter, and Facebook, the groups and whatnot, which is actually where I wanted to get. Why haven't you started a Facebook group? No time, or?
I don't see the point in, like, well, for me anyway, I'm like, I think you can have just too many communities, and I don't want to. I guess it is time, but also that I can't commit to managing it either, because I can't be bothered. It's like, I can only do so much at the minute, and I think like a lot of, especially on YouTube and stuff, a lot of it's behind the scenes. I spend a whole day of the week on YouTube content and video content, and that is the busiest day of the week, and that's normally a Monday. So I think I couldn't add anything.
It's it's very justifiable. Like, you don't want to spread yourself too thin. You want to stick to platforms. And
I've got a page. I've got a Facebook page.
Yes, you do.
A group. Like, a group is not. I don't get what I would do for a group. I like to join groups and then be a helping hand, because that's what I see myself as more of a helping hand rather than being a moderator. Because I think I'll just be like power hungry if I was a moderator and just like banning people left, right, and center.
It is a bit of work now looking back that I think about it, because you don't know who's going to post something that you might not want, and it's really managing the group. I just know that you're definitely someone who's very helpful. I think you quite enjoy being a helping hand, as you said. I know a group would reach a bigger amount of people, but then, at the same time, if they don't know about you, that's their loss. They can find you on YouTube. I know.
If one day I create a group, I don't know. Like, it depends when I get the idea. I normally do things upon an idea of like, oh, I could do this for that, and then I'll have to use this. So like, I'm not discounting it for the future, but like at the minute, I don't see the need for me to have a group yet.
And definitely, like I said, now looking back at it, I'm like, that probably is a lot of work. I don't know how. I know Roberto's pretty active in the group, and I know sometimes it can be a bit much. Let's talk about let's gear focus to the website that people can help support you, the Patreon site. I know it's it's the way I'm helping you out. Like I said, I enjoy your work.
Thank you so much.
No problem. What was was that a bit of being more of like, I think I've reached a level to where people might want to help me out, or is just like, I'm just going to put it up there?
I'm just going to put it up there. Is it?
Just going to put it up there.
Well, I think like the idea of it, like at first, was I'm going to be creating products that I want as many people to have. But the problem like, I'll get to the reason. Like, it's a big story, but on YouTube and stuff, the way that Patreon worked at first was if you created a video, someone would pay you this amount per video. But now it's like either way, you can do it per month and stuff, which was a really good move by them. So with Patreon, I was like, oh, people enjoy my content on YouTube. They can support me out of the good heart and stuff. And if they just want something from me, because a lot of people just want something from me, like just want to look at my work, which is like, nothing wrong with that at all. That's exactly the reason why I've got Patreon as well. If they do that, they can get my stuff for free. If they are well, not for free because they're Patreon, but they can be a Patreon and get my things for free from like a shop when it's more substantial. Because I don't want to be like money hoarding or anything like that online. I want it to be a fair transaction. So like the reason behind Patreon was more like, if I want to keep going where I am going, or where the vision that I've got, if I want to go to where I'm thinking, then I'll need a place of funding where I can be like, yo, if you become a Patreon for like $10 or something, then I can give you this and I can give you that. I still need to update it because I haven't updated it in like a year, I don't think. Or I think it's a bit ridiculous. I put $100 thing on there, which is a bit silly. But like with Patreon, I think it's a great place just to go ahead and get people to really support what you're doing. And part of, well, my, what's it called? Not milestones, but what they call gifts or whatever. Are going to just be a part of my shop and other things like that. So,
yeah, and like I said, in your case, it's definitely a advantage for anyone who's a fan of yours. You know, you do offer some discounts on your upcoming courses. I know you have some members only deals that you're gonna release here. So yeah, folks, if Will's your guy and you've got some interest in Will, it's an advantage to hop on that platform. I'll also include that link there in the show description so you guys can check it out for yourself. Yeah, I think it's a great thing. You know, I heard there's always going to be the person who's got negative things to say about it. I heard, you know, I've heard comments like, well, you're getting a fair wage to do what you do. You don't need a free money. No one's going to hand you things. And, you know, you know, it's a mindset. I look at it as supporting someone who I dig, you know, someone who is doing really good work. You know, it's being supportive. You know, if I was closer to you, I'd just be like, hey, let's go get coffee. You know, it'd be the same thing.
I think like to every like content creator as well. I think people see us as like, I don't know, but if you're on Reddit, there was a post on Reddit about me and how much I earn, because I think it's I haven't really like mentioned it too much because I don't want people to be searching online of like, you know, exactly how much I've earned and stuff or whatever. But I think a lot of uneducated people assume that us creative people that are kind of known in the community earn more than everyone else, when in reality sometimes that's not the case. And like I know a bunch of people like in my town who are creative people who earn like 10 times more than me, and like it's not because I can't earn that amount, it's because I'm choosing to do what I'm doing now, which is sort of like my channel and stuff. So Patreon is like a supplement to that, and it's not something to fall back on, but it's every time you see that money being sent to you, you realize the people who really support you and the people who you should really be thankful for and the reason why you're doing it. Because you get ad revenue, that's good, great, but the fact that someone's actually parting with something that they've earned is like another level of like, whoa, like mind blown. So
I mean, to that extent, I feel that way about my Facebook page, which before a couple of months ago, I didn't have my website up, but I got that up now. And before, it was basically just handling business through the Facebook page and my new work updates and stuff like that. And I always tell people, like, I call it sympathy. Like, I'm like, don't go like my page just to go, because you feel an obligation to go like my page. If you like what I'm doing, and then follow me, you know, like if you have a genuine, like, hey, this guy's doing good stuff, then you can go follow me. But I don't want inflated numbers. I don't want, you know, a like, and then, you know, I make a post and someone looks at it and goes, I don't know why I'm following this guy. Like, you know, like I want genuine connections. And that was the kind of thing when I took over and refocused on social media this year. You know, I had an outrageous number of Twitter followers, and I am not going to lie. I was told the more followers you had, the better you were going to do on Twitter. And I went to Fiverr and I bought myself some subscriptions. I'm not gonna lie. I was told that, you know, I had this social media expert tell me that if you have like 50,000 followers on Twitter, then people are going to think you're super important and want to hire you for jobs. And, you know, I bought into that. And now I noticed that, you know, as far as Twitter goes, if, you know, maybe the smaller number, the better. You know, you can reach more people and the connections are genuine, and people actually, you know, if you tweet out to 10 people and they're all authentic, you're gonna get 9 back that are gonna look at what you're doing. Opposed over to big numbers. So I took a week out of my life and I went and I hand removed all of the 20,000 followers on Twitter. I spent a total of about 8 hours a day, and I taught myself a lesson. And not many people will admit to doing that, but I was steered the wrong way. Now I'm growing a small community of followers, and I feel really connected. I don't like the fact that some of the more well-known people you follow on Twitter don't necessarily comment back on your comments. I feel that disconnect. There's some people that are putting out some really good Twitter stuff, and then when I comment, hey, this is really awesome, or I reshare it, I don't hear anything back. And their Twitter's all spam and pushy email lists and stuff like that. So I have to unfollow them. I'm sorry, but I enjoy people like yourself and Roberto and Chris Doe and Jose and them that I can tag you guys in something. I can mention a video and I'll get hey, at least a little nudge that you liked it, or that means a lot these days. People look for that attention, and I think that's another thing that I love about trying this podcasting is drawing attention to people. Another reason why I enjoy what you guys are doing is it's a community. It's a wacky community of creative people.
Very diverse.
Yeah, very diverse. There's and everyone's at different levels. You have a great following. Roberto's got a great following on YouTube. I think I have 8 followings, people following me. I've never posted a video. I've had the channel since 2006. So it
will grow though. It grows. It definitely grows. It doesn't matter who you are or what you put out. It does grow if you're just consistent and make sure your content is something that adds value to people. It'll definitely grow.
Yeah, that's where I was going to get with. It's I find that I can always, with Roberto's case, that guy puts out so many videos a week. I don't know how he has time to do stuff.
Nor do I. No, he's got time management skills like a god. Literally, I don't understand how he does it.
And I know a lot of that stuff he has just queued up. We were in a blab one night, and he's like, I have like 12 videos queued up for the next 2 months. I'm like, wow, like.
I'm quite laid back. Like, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
but I'm sort of like more of a laid back kind of guy.
Yeah, but your videos are at the same time they're still very informative. You wouldn't have the following on YouTube that you have if they weren't. Very, very disappointed. People get on the ball with the new stuff. The creative bar stuff's awesome. I don't know what you guys are having issues with. But yeah, no.
Like it.
Yeah, definitely. Folks, I will add all the links to the show notes. I know you've got some great things coming up to end of the year. I know the new year is probably going to look really awesome with the new creative bar stuff. Hopefully we'll see more of your wife. She's a pleasant change. It definitely works the quirkiness, and you just look at her like, what are you talking about? I find a lot. I find that it's a very good comic relief to the situation. Yeah. Some of those videos were some of my favorites, and folks, you definitely have to go check those out. I'm going to wrap it up, and then I know we had a couple of questions. We'll get to that in a second, and then we will end it with the 5 questions that I don't know why I feel is standard with all these podcasts. There's always a question segment. So really, folks, if you want to catch the question segment, I kind of cut it out of the podcast. I'm kind of making you guys go check out my new channel on YouTube for the video questions only. I don't think Will's gonna let us down. I got some standard questions, but they're good ones. I really think so. So, Will, thank you for joining us. I'm gonna wrap up the audio part of this. Anything you want to plug for the folks out there? Where can they reach you?
You can reach me on YouTube. I don't have a handle on YouTube, so you'll just have to search me, or or Derek will put you in a link somewhere in the show notes. You can also get ready for my new font that's coming out on, I think, the 12th of December, which is a brush font that goes hand in hand with my woodland font. So there you go.
See, why did you do this? Now I want to talk about the font.
We can carry on if you want.
Yeah, I'm in a sec. Well, yeah, I'll keep it in for the audio people. So the font, how did that come about? You just realize you you could monetize that, or was it just something you had laying around, or was it with the intent of?
Oh, it was the intent of like, I got sick. Well, it sounds really bad, but you know, my hand lettering is in some. I use to the little sans serif things. I'll go ahead and when I'm mocking stuff up for my hand lettering, I'll go ahead onto Illustrator to conform the the structure and the composition. So the way that I wanted to do that was, what if I created like a font of my hand lettering and went ahead and put it all in the sort of structure so I could like quickly change the shape of it, see if it works first, and then go ahead and do it in hand, because it'll take about an hour to do it in paper, whereas it'll take 10 minutes on a computer. So that's the way it came about. I still do all my everything on my Instagram is basically hand lettered, but it was just a way of like working out the structure and the composition. So what I was like, I've got to create an actual font, and I spoke to a guy called Ian Barnard, who everyone should go follow. He lives a couple hours away from me, and he's one of the best sellers on creativemarket.com. I think he's part of the Vintage Design Co. And he creates like Illustrator resources for designers and hand letterers, and he creates so many fonts and they're so good. So I spoke to him. He showed me how to go about getting the software and everything, and then I was like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to sell it, and I'm going to try and make more time for me to actually do something that I enjoy, which is with letters and little forms like that. So yeah,
definitely. Like I said, you mentioned it. I was actually, I don't know why I didn't put it in the show notes. I think it's awesome. I know a lot of people. I know Roberto does a lot of stuff through affiliates, and any way that you can make an extra couple of bucks, and that does help keep you as creative and picking projects that you really like, opposed to those projects that we don't want to really do, but you're just like, I don't know why I did this, but and I think everyone's got that project or two. I have one client, and if he listens, I don't mind saying this. We'll talk later, but he's not the most easy guy to work with. He's got his way. And he wants to see things certain way, and this and that, and I tell him, for the best work you're going to get out of me, give me some creative flexibility to be able to do my thing. You're paying me to do my thing. Let me be and do that. But it's definitely extra income on the side that can help out when you have a slow month. I always say that I am a freelance light, because the fact I do event flyers, these companies that I work for have an event every month. So it's like, I know that these, that once I have my relationship with the company and I get them on a monthly retainer, that work's always going to be there. So I necessarily don't have that struggle of, I don't know where my projects are coming from this month, in the pay. But at the same time, it's, I'm corralled in the events, the event marketing realm. So anytime I can mess with Illustrator and do stuff in InDesign and other more proper logos and stuff like that, it's a bit of a change for me, but it's a welcome change. Folks, we're gonna wrap it up here. We'll get to the Q&A part in a minute. I know we got some questions to answer. We'll go back and look through the comments. That was our one-on-one interview with Will Paterson. He plugged all that he's gonna plug. You guys need to support an artist. Will's a great guy. We thank him for doing this.